So, we're now going to move on to our next mid-segment game. And this one is called Little Known Facts. And so, how this works is that each of us brings a little known fact. It can be about absolutely anything. Complete discretion for what your fact is about. We'll share them. And then the other two people vote on whether it was A little known fact, and B, was it an interesting fact? And if both people vote yes, you get 2 points. 1 yes, 1 no, 1 point. 2 no's, 0 points.
Okay.
So, who should kick this off? I would like to go last. I think I have a fact that would be a nice bookend to this broadcast. So, Lewis, would you like to maybe not make the same mistake of waiting for last? Do you want to go first this time?
Right. But I forgot it earlier. I researched it before we came, and then I wrote it down in my little book, and then I did bring my little book. So the problem is it's like a percentage, but I think it was this, so we'll just go with it. It might be.
Let's hear it.
Okay. Did you know that Korea produced 90% of the world's seaweed production?
Okay.
Did you search on Google like the top 10 facts about Korea?
So actually, okay, for a scoring, why don't we do this? Why don't we do this, Valentine? We'll do 2 thumbs again. 1 thumb for little known, 1 thumb for interesting.
But it gets better. Right? Because I was interested in I was like, seaweed, that's pretty cool. And then
no one ever.
Not right. And then I read that what was it? Yeah, algae and seaweed provide 70% of oxygen for the world. And oxygen. Only them 2 little plants. So there's all these trees around the world. But actually, the algae and seaweed plays a vital part in oxygen production.
I would say that I would use that one as your little known fact.
Okay.
Much better.
Let's count that.
Okay. Okay. So
what? 2, 1.
So I would say 1 thumb for interesting, 1 thumb for little known.
Okay.
Okay. Ready?
All right.
1,
no, this is
2, 3.
Yeah.
The second one, your first one was only going to get 1 for me.
thank
The
you.
second fact was actually both little known and interesting. The first one was not as.
You mean the first one, like the produce 90% of seaweed?
No, I like the second one, the algae.
Oh yeah, but I mean the first one.
The
For
first
me,
one
was
they're good.
interesting.
Okay, so I'm gonna official scorekeeping here.
I
Let's
wondered
see.
why that is, and I realized it's probably because only Korea and Japan actually eat seaweed in the world. I don't think seaweed gets eaten much anywhere else.
Cue the angry comments from all the other countries who eat seaweed.
I mean, in the end, it might be the national food. Then I mean, if like we say, like kimchi is the national vegetable from Korea, but it's actually produced also in China and it's used very everywhere. But if they produce 90% of the seaweed, maybe that is the official Korean food.
Right.
Maybe even more popular than.
I think so. And you just made me think of a question. If you go to a restaurant, like at restaurants, they'll say where the ingredients are from. So they'll say beef, American, they'll say kimchi, and they'll say kimchi, and then usually you'll either say China or made in Korea. If it's in, this is very I don't know, political, but if it says China, do you eat it?
In Korea, you see that in Korea?
Yeah,
I've never seen it.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen it at barbecue places.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
when I go to barbecue places, I'm already trying. So I don't see.
Yeah, I mean, I eat it. I think we definitely would prefer to. It has nothing to do with Korea versus China. It's more just we're living in a country support local. So I mean, I would prefer to get a locally sourced one, but I'm not going to not go to a place just because it has Chinese.
Chinese make many good things, but for me, I always find the kimchi from the it's like chemical. I don't know what it is. It's a bright red and chemicals. So, I'm probably gonna get friggin' hated. I don't know why I started talking about it.
In your head, you were like, I haven't pissed Chinese people off yet.
Check.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah, exactly. So, Valentine, let's hear your little known fact.
Oh, mine. Okay, that's probably not an interesting fact for you guys. I mean, I guess you guys know. I mean, we've all been in Korea for a long time, but that might be an interesting fact for viewers, especially people who didn't come to Korea or people who arrived in Korea recently. I know that's something that I learned a few months after I was in Korea. I've heard that from Korea, and I thought, that's an interesting story. Budae-jjigae, which is a soup with some sausages and spam and meat in it. Where does it come from? What does it mean? Do you know? You know, right?
Budae-jjigae
It comes from when the U.S. Army were here, right?
Army stew.
Okay. Then I knew you guys know, but that's the first thing that came to my mind. Where one of the things that I've learned in Korea that I thought was interesting. So Budae-jjigae is the origin, like it means like Buddha is like an army, a troop. How do we say, a battalion? I forgot in English.
Battalion, sure. Unit.
Buddha, a unit, and Chige is the current word for soup. So that was invented after the war in I'm not gonna say a specific year because I might get it wrong, but it was after the war, and when Koreans didn't have there was like a huge like economic crisis. I mean, after war is really hard,
Right.
and Koreans army, they had a lot of too much food, too much like meat, like leftover meat from canned meat from the army, and they were like throwing from the military base to some Korean citizens those meat, and they had to make something out of it. So that's where the Buddha Chige comes from, and it was invented at the time, and it's still very, very popular these days. And
Yeah, it's so good actually.
It's
really,
so good.
Yeah, I really like it. Like I'm not really a fan of when food's too spicy, but Buddha Jjigae is just that perfect balance of like spice and meat. Oh, it's really good.
yeah, so I'm gonna lose because I know they knew it already, and it's not very interesting. But it would be interesting.
So
for,
what is it again?
So you give one if it was little known and one if it was interesting.
All right.
All right, 1, 2, 3. No, I think it qualifies. I think it's little known. He made a point. It's little known outside. I mean,
Yeah.
And I when I heard it, I thought it was very interesting.
I look like it, right? I was gonna sit there.
So he gets 2.
Apologies.
Okay.
I think just because I've been here that long, I like it. I've heard
Yeah.
it. I think next time go for the seaweed fact, didn't you? Go on
I
then.
didn't go on Google to search my facts. I just remember one of my personal story. That's
Okay,
something
sorry, yeah,
that I
that's true.
remembered from my past.
I
Did a Korean tell you that? No.
I'm surprised. They're normally proud of these things.
I'm
Go
in
on
the
then,
embarrassing. I realize. So my fact actually comes from a show I watched yesterday about Korea.
Okay.
And I realized I forgot one of the words that makes the fact. I'm just going to go for it anyway. I think it's interesting. It has to do, it's like half a fact. I'm going to fail at this. It has to do with the origin, a theory around the origin of the word sul, alcohol. Why do they call alcohol sul?
Okay.
And it has to do with makgeolli.
All right. Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I honestly forget the one of the words though because I might forget it Korean. But I'll tell the story anyway because it is interesting. One is the theory; it's not confirmed, but the theory was a long time ago when people would make makgeolli at home, you put the rice in, the water, you ferment it, and when it ferments, it makes bubbles. And so people started to see in water the bubbles coming up. And I believe, and I might be wrong here, it was a compound word where they called it the makgeolli mul for water, and I think it was bul for fire. Because it looked like it was boiling without fire. And it was mulbul, which became like mulsul, which became sul. So it's a theory on why sul became. Again, I apologize there that the second half of that word, I had like a blank moment where I'm like, wait, I don't actually remember what the second word was.
Because a lot of Korean words
No.
are made up from a few different.
Yeah, exactly. So
parts,
that's something actually in Korean. A lot of times you'll have words where the etymology is that it used to be a longer compound word and it got shortened.
What the hell is etymology? What way to
Etymology is like the study of words and like lexicon.
Alright, okay.
Please, Valentine, are you looking up to confirm what the second word is? Was it wul or is it a different word?
Was it in here?
Oh, that was the article I said. That was pretty interesting. I was gonna.
It wasn't there?
I don't think
What is
so.
it talking about?
No. Here, just Google. So actually, and this is a fun fact about what if you are interested in Korea. Korean Netflix has actually been producing some interesting kind of cultural shows. So this is a fact my wife and I enjoy watching, like as many people I imagine, new food TV, when we're having dinner, watching a photo, and there's a really famous Korean entrepreneur, restaurateur named Baek Jong-won. And so he's really well known in Korea.
Is he the cafe guy? He has the
Cafes, yeah. And so he has shows on Netflix now because he's kind of, he really makes popular and tries to like kind of bring attention to like regional and lesser known Korean cuisine and ingredients. During actually the pandemic, there was a case of in northern South Korea, so in Gangwon-do, one of the northern provinces, a bunch of potato farmers were really struggling. So he kind of shed light on, hey, everyone buy these potatoes.
Right.
And then all of a sudden those potatoes were sold out. So he's very influential. So he has a Netflix. I don't know if it's available outside of Korea. It may be because it has English subtitles. It's called Paek's Spirit. And so he basically talks about alcohol. And so the first episode, he was talking about soju and different things, and they were sitting around drinking in the show. Yeah. And he tells a story about that's one of the theories on why they call.
I bet he executed it a lot better.
Oh,
than-
much better, much more eloquent.
actually,
But the fact is, basically, it was a compound word where it was mul. I think it was pur. I think it was
Can you imagine
firework.
if that's a really bad Korean bad word?
Yeah. But that's my fact, and I throw myself at the mercy of the court for botching that so badly. So
Okay, I know
Vote.
where my vote is gonna go.
yeah, vote, go please.
Get ready. 3, 2,
2,
1. Yeah, I think.
actually,
I'm
is it-
okay. I came in second. I'm all right with that.
yeah. Actually, it's interesting where it came from. Like, I was, the article I sent you. I was going to follow up when we're talking about Makgeolli.
Yeah.
Like when I was, because to be honest, like we drink Makgeolli, but we don't really know, like you said, the theory behind it and where it comes from and stuff. So when I was researching a little bit earlier, and I sent you that article, was it 10 years ago? The Ministry of what was it? The Ministry of Food and maybe something like that. They wanted to promote exports of Makgeolli around the world, so they got together like a group of different people in the industry, and they came up with the word. They wanted to give it a nickname. So what was the word? It was drunken rice, and they actually copyrighted that word, drunken rice. Just total like, just one of those words where it just does not really match it at all for that type of thing. But anyway, I don't think it was too much of a
Didn't catch on.
success.
Didn't catch on too
Nah,
much.
drunken rice. I don't think.
Yeah.
Do you want a glass of drunken rice? That's gonna
Oh, again, and because I think we can do this, Valentine, I don't want to throw this at you as an editing challenge, but when we post this video later, maybe I'll tell you what that word was, you can throw it up as a caption.